Hello, fellow followers. Welcome back to FanZcene. Greg here, and today I have for you, what the F is a movie? What does that mean? Well, we're going to get into it because, it seems like with modern movies today, there's something about them that doesn't feel right. They don't feel like a movie. And Quentin Tarantino, one of the, last remaining actual directors, it feels like, in Hollywood, whether you love him or hate it, he recently sat down with a Variety and gave an interview with them. And if you've been curious about where he's been and where's his last movie and everything, he's actually not, working on a movie. He's trying to work on a play. And we're going to go ahead and bring up this article from Variety. And basically, this part that I'm going to read right here is essentially the whole article. A little before this is where they ask him about why he hasn't working on the movie, and he talks about how he was hanging out with his kids. He's got a 5-year-old son and a young daughter, and he wants to spend time with them, and he wants to challenge himself, and he wants to write. And he's writing a play, not really working on his movie. And so we're going to go into this little spiel here because this is the extent of the article on why he's not working on the movie and what the F is a movie, right? So it says, the warm and fuzzy stopped there. As Mitchell probed further about how necessary a voice like Tarantino's is in the movie landscape, the Pulp Fiction director delivered a blazing tirade about why the theater seems more rewarding than his day job. To do it justice, we'll run his rant in full. And I love this. And he says, that's a big effing deal pulling a play off, because he's writing a play, not not movie for theaters. And I don't know if I can. So here we go. That's a challenge, a genuine challenge. But making movies? Well, what the F is a movie now? What? Something that plays in theaters for a token release for 4 effing weeks. All right. And by the second week, you can watch it on television. I didn't get into all this for diminishing returns. I mean, it was bad enough in 97. It was bad enough in 2019. And that was the last effing year of movies. That was a shit deal. As far as I was concerned, the fact that it's gotten drastically worse, and that's it. Just, it's a show pony exercise. Now the theatrical release, and then in 2 weeks, you can watch it on this streamer and that one. Okay, theater, you can't do that. It's in it's the final frontier. The theater, not the movie theaters, like the putting on a play. That's the final frontier, because he has creative control. He can create something there. I'm gonna go ahead and pull that off. But there you have it. What the F is a movie? It seems like I'm gonna give a little my thoughts on this, because it feels like a lot of movies today aren't movies. It's content. Clearly everything is made for content, at quick fix, to get it out there, try to make a quick buck, and then immediately send it to the streamer, because as we all know, streaming is where studios lie now, because that's where they have the most control, and that's what they spend all their millions of dollars on. And to be honest with you, only one streaming service has been successful, and that's Netflix. And I fucking hate Netflix. Sorry. I'm trying not to cuss, but I hate Netflix. And the fact that they're successful just makes me mad. But yeah, what is a movie nowadays? It's either a content, it's a political message. It's made, most movies that are now made for theaters. I've talked a little bit about this in another video. It's called the streaming effect. Is like, most movies that play in theaters nowadays clearly feel like they're a streaming movie, that they're not made to go to the theaters. I think basically if they could bypass theaters all around, Hollywood would, and they've started to do that more and more. But the theaters still give them a little bit more bulk than streaming does at the moment. When they put a movie out, they get a little more money from theaters, even though it's not a lot, than they do streaming, because honestly, they don't really make a lot of money on streaming. They don't. They just don't. But it feels like movies today just feel like they're made for streaming, period. In the way they look, the way the cinematography, the way they feel. I talked about it once before. It's like people are like, oh, you mean like a straight to a video movie from the 90s? In a way, but there's yes, the straight to video movies have a feeling in the 90s. It was like a straight to video movie and stuff, and it's sort of similar to the streaming movie. I honestly can't explain it. I can't put my finger on it, but there's just something way about movies and TVs look, where you watch something, even if you see it in theater, and you go, that's made for like Amazon Prime. That's made for like Netflix. You can see it. It's purposely made to be a streaming movie, and it is very hard to find movies nowadays. And now I get it, I'm not saying all movies are look that way, and that there's no good new movies out there. There are good new movies out there, and I think that's it's very rare when you come across a good movie, or a movie that feels like a movie. Like, take for instance Nosferatu, that just came out. That feels like a movie. And I actually just watched the movie Twisters It takes me a while to get to new movies, but I did watch the movie Twisters, and honestly, that felt like a movie. And I'm not talking about like an Oscar award winning movie or a movie that challenges you like Tarantino's talking about, but it felt like an old school actual theatrical movie. The only real problem I had with that is like um, the two leads at the end of the movie, spoilers are, they should have kissed. It feels like that is being stripped away from movies as well too. Like it just movies feel sanitized, washed out. The colors are bad. The plots are bland. It feels like streaming, and it feels like so many things that people are trying to play safe. Like even in Twister, which it felt like an actual like big budget summer type blockbuster movie from the past. But they took out the two leads didn't kiss. It was like it was building to that moment. You felt that, and it just never happened. But like you, luckily we still have directors. I would put like Tarantino, Robert Eggers. I know a lot of people like Christopher Nolan and stuff. And I'm sad we lost David Lynch because David Lynch was one of those directors. Yes, and I'm not just talking about big budget blockbuster movies and stuff. Like even like Oscar type movies feel like streaming movies. They're not. It doesn't feel like they're rewarding or challenging. And I can sort of get where Tarantino's coming from, because why bother making a movie that's going to only play a couple weeks in theaters, not get no money in return for it himself, and then immediately go to streaming with diminishing returns, because they get actors and directors and writers, all that, get less on streaming than they did with the DVD. This is why I love physical media, and I wish we would have a return of physical media, but it's, with the Hollywood studios, everything is like, I've played the clip with Matt Damon a million times, but it's like when the movie would play in theaters, it would have this long stretch in theaters, and whether it did well or didn't do well, they would have this second turnaround with the home video market, VHS, DVD, Blu-ray, and they would make those directors, writers, all that, and actors would make a second thing, because a lot of times, sometimes a movie would come out on a DVD, a home video, Blu-ray, and become bigger than it was in the theaters. Austin Powers, for example, was one that didn't do so well. The first one didn't do so well in theaters, but when it came out, huge on home video, spawned a franchise. A bunch of other movies as well. These movies would get a second life and everything, and it doesn't feel that way on streaming, because it's made quick content. Just it feels lifeless, it feels soulless, it doesn't feel challenging. And I can get where he's coming from, because what the F is a movie nowadays? Yes, there are good new movies out there. I'm not going to say there aren't. There are good new movies out there, but it doesn't feel like a movie is a movie anymore. And I talk about it, it's like they don't have that feel. And I think it's also some of the digitalness of it, because you're missing that film grain and everything. And some directors still, I believe Robert Eggers still uses like film and everything, which is, it actually costs more to use film now than it does digital, so it's easier to produce a movie with digital. But yeah, that's I don't know if I got all my thoughts out there the way I wanted to, but it just, what the F is a movie nowadays, because movies just don't feel like movies nowadays. They're not challenging, they're not rewarding. You don't even have those like movies that make you think, like the Lynchian David Lynch movies, or the old school Quentin Tarantino like Reservoir Doll type movies, or Pulp Fiction type movies. And you don't have those big budget blockbuster movies anymore that feel like big budget blockbuster movies anymore, which I was really surprised. I like Twisters. A sequel to a movie that didn't need a sequel, with nothing that has hardly any connection to the first movie, and it's like, missed me with that. And then I watched it and I was like, I liked it. It was weird, but there doesn't mean there still wasn't some modern day problems within that. But let me know what you guys think about this. Have you guys noticed this thing with like the streaming effect on movies, where movies don't feel like movies anymore? They feel like streaming content. They don't feel like they're made to entertain you. Do you guys agree with Quentin Tarantino? What the F is a movie? If you're wondering where his last movie is, this is why it's taking so long, because it's just not challenging for him. He's not making the money that he used to make, which I don't blame him for that, and the movies just aren't movies. But let me know your guys' thoughts and comments in the comment section down below, or maybe leave one of a new movie that you saw that actually felt like an old school classic movie that you used to watch, that felt like a movie. Leave me those in the comment section down below. And if you liked what you saw here, maybe consider hitting that like button or subscribing, hitting that bell for notifications. That'd be awesome if you're on your guys' subscriptions, or possibly share the video out for everybody to see, or join and become a channel member, because that would help out my channel immensely. Thank you, and shout out to all my channel members. I appreciate each and every one of you guys. Thank you guys for being channel members here, and for all of your support. And to everybody watching, whether you like me, hated me, or like this video, or hated this video, thank you for sticking this long. Wherever you all are, please have a great, safe, happy, healthy day, morning, afternoon, evening, and night. Always support physical media, because it truly is the superior format. Godspeed.